Hello and welcome back to Noggin Comics. It has been about a month since we have done any video, but we're coming back. I know we said that a lot, but we are coming back. So one thing you have realized, if you've been on this channel before, you realize that we love Minnesota. As you can tell in the beanie from the Minnesota Comic Exchange, the Uncanny Experience button on the side of it, events happening in Minnesota. So I want to do something new. And this is a little tease, a little preview of what we're going to be doing for future videos, future Tales from the Ugly Chair segments. We want to start talking about Minnesota comic books. So you may be asking yourself, what do you mean by Minnesota comics? Well, we have a plethora of comic shops here. It's insane. And, Nora and I are part of Mind's Eye Comics, which is a shop in Burnsville. You have other shops in town that, they're great at each little thing, too. But that is not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about comic book shops. I'm talking about creators. See, one of the video that I'll be doing next, or Nora and I will be doing next, it's going to be interviewing the writer of Tox, the co-creator of Tox, who is from Minnesota, and that inspired this video I'm going to be doing here. I'm going to run down a list of books from Minnesota creators that I think you should be checking out and that we will be talking about in the near future. First book is actually something that just came out recently, and it involves a writer from Minnesota named Ashley Allen. She wrote the short story in DC Legion of Bloom about Poison Ivy. We might do a short video on that, but if you haven't yet, check out DC Legion of Bloom for Ashley Allen, and she'll be doing the Milestone Initiative new talent showcase coming out here soon. Now, after our interview with Tox, or even, maybe tonight, we're going to be releasing a video on a series called The Local Haunt, which is by Kevin Wynn. And this is a reason why I said I might release it tonight, because I want to talk about it as soon as possible. He also released 2 little short Inktober spin-offs with one of the characters, Hank the Gremlin. This is a very interesting book. If you're going to any Minnesota convention, you can find Kevin and his brother Brandon there selling books that they've created. So stay tuned for the video on this book as well. The rest of these are, a couple of them are printed from big publishers. This next one is actually a local publication called Lakeshore Comics, and it's Broken Trident. I'm shocked that Nora and I have not talked about this book yet. This book is right down our alley. If you're on social media, find these guys, find Lakeshore Comics. Broken Trident, I'm going to say this, it's actually been better than some of the Atlantis-based comic books that have come out recently. And this one, in my hand here, I recently read this, Captain America the Ghost Army, and the artist, Brent Skolhover. I always mispronounce the name, and I'm sorry, but I've met the guy before. He's a Minnesotan, and his artwork is insanely great. I should have a review out on this in the near future, but you can find this at Target. I've seen this at Target. I've seen this at Barnes & Noble. If you like Captain America, if you want to support Minnesota creators, this is a book for you too. This is for any type of reader. It's great for Independence Day, great for Halloween, great for a random April night. Check this book out. Now, the three I'm about to name off here, or show off, are by the same person. And it's funny because these first two, you can actually find his name on it. And his name is Dave Wheeler, or Dave Wonder on YouTube. And he did the coloring on Sci-Fu. But the funny thing is, though, is that he did not get credit for this, but he did the coloring on Shazam Thundercrack. As you can tell, it's by the same creator, and Dave just did the coloring. But Dave is a mainstay in the Minnesota comic community, and I can't wait to sit down and talk about these three books, and maybe get the opportunity to sit down with Dave one of these days. But there's also a lot of big names in Minnesota too. You got Dan Jurgens, you have Doug Mankey, Pat Gleason, Gordon Purcell, and then you also have a lot of independent creators that I haven't named here yet, like Dennis Vogan, Nick Pelichek. There's a lot of great creators in Minnesota, and I can't wait to showcase their artwork, their books, and even sit down and interview them in the future. But yeah, I know this is a random video. I just wanted to express my love for Minnesota. I feel like we're a very underrated community in the comic community, and I can't wait for us to showcase how big we actually are. And I think with the upcoming shows, Twin City Con, Minnesota Con, and the Uncanny Experience, and what the Minnesota Comic Exchange is doing, the future is bright for Minnesota. So stay tuned for these videos on these books. We have more videos coming up too. Stay tuned for the interview with Talks. And let me know, have you checked out any of these books that we just showed off? But until then, have a great day and read a comic book.